Hey third graders, welcome to Module 3, Lesson 20. Today we're going to build on the strategy that we learned yesterday. So we're going to learn a new strategy to multiply numbers that are multiples of 10. So we're going to be multiplying by 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 today. I'm calling it a new strategy, not really new, just building on what we were doing yesterday, but a new way to think about it. All right, let's go. Our first problem is 4 times 20. Now, yesterday, we were thinking of it as 4 times 2 tens. And we would put it on the 10 side of the place value chart. Today, we're still going to be using that concept, but separating the numbers and using appropriate math symbols to show what we were doing. So now we're going to take our 20 and we're going to put, instead of 2 tens, we're going to separate it into 2 times 10 or 2 tens. So see how we're writing it appropriately today? And we haven't done anything with the 4 times, so we're going to keep that there. So now we have 4 times 2 times 10. Now what we did yesterday was we did our 4 times 2 tens, and then we thought, what's 4 times 2? And we had it in the ones, and then we shifted those over to the tens to show what happened when we had that same array but in the tens place. So to show that mathematically using our symbols, we're going to use our parentheses. So yesterday what we did the 4 times 2 first, and then we multiplied it by the 10. So this is a much more proper way to write what we did yesterday. So we had 4 times 2, which was 8. So 4 times 2 is 8. And then we multiplied that by 10. So 8 times 10 is 80. Pretty cool. All right, so we're going to be doing this today. Our next problem is 3 times 70. So that's like what we did yesterday with 3 times 7 tens, but let's break it apart using numbers today. So we have 70 is the same as 7 times 10. So we have 7 tens in 70. I want you guys to write this part on your notes. Sorry, should have said that. All right, so on your notes, you're going to write 3 times 70, and I want you to break apart the 70 into 7 times 10. And then we're going to draw our place value chart on the side. Go ahead and press pause and press play to catch up with me. Sorry about that. All right, hopefully you're caught up with me. And so now we're going to put down the 3 times because we haven't done anything with that yet. So now we should have our equation of 3 times 7 times 10. Okay, so yesterday we did the 3 times 7 tens, so let's put our parentheses around the 3 times 7. Now I want you to show 3 times 7 on your place value chart. Now be careful because we're not in the tens place yet, we're just in the ones. So we're going to do our 3 rows of 7 over here. Go ahead and do it with me. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I always double check. Okay, so I've got my 3 times 7, so now I can figure it out. A lot of you already know that it's 21, or you could count by your 3s, or your 7s. 7, 14, 21, or you could do your 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21. All right, no matter the case, we have 3 times 7 is 21. Now we're going to times it by 10. So when we times it by 10, that means that we're turning all of these ones into tens. What? All right. So now we're going to redraw our array over here. So go ahead and do that with me while I do it. Now we have 21 tens, or we have 210. All right, next one. 4 times 50. Go ahead and draw your place value chart. Write down the problem, and I want you guys to separate your 4 times 50. Go through this process as far as you can. Press pause and press play when you're done. Look back at the problems from before to help you with the steps. All right, go for it. Okay, hopefully you have finished that, and so that you've separated your 50 into 5 times 10, or 5 tens are in 50. And so our new equation becomes 4 times 5 times 10. And on our place value chart, you should have had 4 rows of 5. Then you put parentheses around your 4 times 5 to show that that's what we did first. And you should have gotten 20. And now we're going to do our 20 times 10. So that means that we're going to take our ones and we're going to turn them into tens by timesing by 10. And so now we have 4 rows of 5 tens. And you should have gotten 200. Now, hopefully you're seeing the pattern here that anything that you multiply by 10 is that number, and then you add the 0. And that is the shortcut, but it's important for you to know why that shortcut works. It works because we're turning all of our ones into tens on the place value chart. In math, a lot of people are going to trick you by just saying, just remember the steps, just memorize the process. Well, that's all fine and good, but honestly, you guys, math gets really hard far down the road, and if you don't understand what's going on here, then it's going to be a lot harder for you later when you guys get into algebra, trigonometry, calculus. So it's really important that you understand how the numbers work now when you're learning the basics. All right, let's try another one. Okay, 60 times 7. Go ahead and draw your place value chart and figure out 60 times 7. Press pause and press play when you're done. All right, you should not have gotten confused by this, but if you did, actually I could see how you'd get confused by this, because watch this. Because what if you did like what we already did and you did 6 times 10 times 7? Well, remember we want to do our times 10 last. So remember with our turnaround rule, it doesn't matter which order we multiply these in as long as we're multiplying them together in the end anyway. So I can flip my 10 and my 6. So I'm going to rewrite my equation as 10 times 6 times 7. How many of you guys got stuck on that, but then you realized the answer, or you tried a couple things and maybe you had actually multiplied a couple of these numbers together and you were like, this is not as easy as the last couple? That is a great skill to have, because in math, even when you hit a problem, you don't want to give up and just crumple your paper and walk away, or get frustrated and go, Mom, I don't get it, and start crying. Please, no tears. You want to try to wrestle with the problem first in your mind. And then if you're really stuck, then you could just press play on the video to see. But you should have tried it first before giving up. All right, so now that we have our numbers rearranged, now I can multiply my 6 and my 7 together. So my parentheses are going in a different spot. Why do I put my parentheses there? To show my ones. So you should have done 6 rows of 7. And you should have gotten 42. So 10 times 42. This is a tricky one. So 42 tens, if we took all of our ones and we wrote them over here on our tens place, we would have had 42 tens, or counting by 10 42 times. That's a lot of times. So hopefully you've noticed the pattern that it's 420. But if you had drawn the 42 over here and you actually counted by tens, hopefully you still got the same answer. Okay, now we're ready for our final problem. If you're not sure what to do on the final problem, you should look back in your notes to make sure that you're doing all the right steps. I want you to multiply 9 times 40. I want you to draw your place value chart, and I want you to show how your ones slide over into your tens place when you multiply by 10. And I want to see those parentheses to show how you're multiplying those ones together first. All right, kiddos, hasta mañana.